Okay? So, good afternoon. I'm Christopher Bell. I'm going to talk to you about amplifying your voice with technology as you give your TED Talks. So first I'd like to start with a nice quote. So I think Nancy's got something here. Stacking things together, building things up as we go along really makes it exciting for the listener and also kind of shows that you've done your homework and what you really want to accomplish. To do that, you have to be strategic, okay? And there really are 4 elements, I think, about strategy that will help you get this done in a proper and efficient way, okay? The first thing is be a storyteller. Take them on the journey, show them the direction you want them to go, okay? The next thing is making sure that there's evidence. Evidence that you do actually know what you're talking about, and you're not just making things up, okay? With that, we make it interesting through the multimedia, but we don't let that overtake your voice, because you're number 1 in this discussion, okay? And the last thing is they should see, feel, and understand that you have practiced this before. This is not your first time, okay? If it's your first time, it's probably not going to come off the best way. So those are 4 ways to be strategic. First one, like I said, take them on a journey, right? You've heard about this in English before. There's a background usually that builds up the character or the idea. Then we get a little bit more excitement as we go along to that climax. And at the top there, we want to make sure that everybody has some kind of response. Be it anger, be it happiness, be it laugh, whatever it is, but we're looking for emotions at the top. Because that downside for a TED Talk, the falling action there, is your call to action. Your so what. If when you deliver your TED Talk, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, that was really good, except, I don't know, what am I supposed to do next? Then we haven't met the responsibility. You need to have some kind of call to action, something you want us to know and leave with. Okay? So some really good things to do in your talk would be signposting. Signposting is this idea of helping the listeners understand where we are and what's coming next, right? It keeps us engaged. You might do repetition, you might do repetition, right? The idea being that I am driving home that message. Aha moment is probably one of my favorite ones when you have that stop for a second, you pull in your audience and you say, listen, this is when I finally realized what happened, okay? So there's some starters here for you, making sure we come back to the end, the change of direction, but signposts help us all understand and follow the story that you're trying to tell, okay? Another thing that you can employ in your slides and your technology that you're going to use, and I know you know these from English class already, is your ethos, your logos, and your pathos, but the big thing is just to know, these are ways to persuade your audience. You may be talking about something that we don't care about. Persuade us to care. Okay? Whatever it is, get us interested. Attach yourselves to us. So what does that really look like? Credibility. That's an easy one. And you all need this in your talk. It's almost, well, it is a requirement for what you're going to have to do. We need to come up with some experts, and we need to show some evidence. So, sure, you could just show evidence, or you could just spout some evidence. I had some kids do that this morning. 63% of kids, though, really believe their grades define them. Well, who said that? Did you say that? Did somebody else say that? I need to know who, because that really matters. If it's just another kid saying that, well, I don't know if I can trust that. But if it's Harvard University, if it's the Dalai Lama, right? Now I have some credibility. Now I understand who it is, and I've made a connection. Okay, so that's credibility. Tell them your story. Why is it important to you? That's a big part of what a TED Talk is. It's really important to you that this message get passed on. Okay? Use yourself as an example. That's always good evidence. And then anytime you can point us to what's called the undeniable truth, right? Something that isn't arguable. Kids and grades not necessarily going together all the time. I think all of us would agree that it's an undeniable truth. There's going to be kids who love the grades, there's going to be kids that hate the grades, but it's always going to be somewhere, there'll be mostly kids in the middle. Okay, so that's undeniable truth. So what's it really look like? So the rest of what I'm going to show you comes from a book called Presentation Zen. Seth Godin wrote that book, millions and millions of copies sold. He's a great speaker, he has a great podcast, he has a great website actually with a lot of different ideas on it, but that's the man himself. This is one of his styles, okay? Very high contrast, bright yellow. He loves that, okay? So let's look at it. Contrast consistent and less is more. So consistently, black and white slides there, or a picture, okay, with black and white on top, but really high contrast. The nice thing is that's always super visible to the audience. That's something you want to make sure. You don't want to put something up that is going to waste the audience time, okay? So Seth's method is really kind of a good example here, is this idea of this. Too minimalistic? Honestly, we think this is kind of lazy. All you've done is put some bullet points up there. You didn't try very hard. Because really, same bullet points, a simple picture and background. Didn't take hardly any longer to create, but this looks valuable. This looks like a little bit lazy. And then a trick I played on you up here is I put these words right at the top, which means when you looked at this, anything at the top jumps out at you first, plus it's a trick of what it actually says. There's credibility and evidence there, right? 3M Corporation, one of the biggest companies in the world, tells us that visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than auditory stuff. Okay, so a little bit of a trick there. And you can see how this plays out this way, right? Sometimes you want to do too much. Now the visual is jumping out, but the words are not, right? We can't have that because the words are what are most important right now. This is a little better. This is even better still because we still get that feel of the beauty, but it's easy to read, Okay? The second one I'll show you is Guy Takahashi, and his is even simpler. It's usually one thing on the screen. Okay? One single thing that he puts up there, very clean, very easy to do. Something like that, right? Takahashi would tell you, less is more. And the trick of Takahashi's is this. It took you less than a second probably to read that word. And then what do? Look back at me. That's because when you're talking, you are number one. You are the most important thing. What you want them to do is see it. Now I tell you about it. You look to me to tell you about it, okay? Takahashi's method is super powerful because a lot of people would say, wow, that's a sweet graphic. Lots going on there, right? We've got charts, we've got a good image, we've got some arrows, some good explanation of what the charts are. Basically though, once I put this up, you couldn't stop looking at this, or most of you looked at this, lost track of what I was saying, right? This is another way to do it. It's still a lot here though. There's still a lot here. You got two visuals, 2%, you've got the text. While this isn't bad, it's still too much. It's still too much. This is a bit better, right? I could have communicated the whole message right there. And that might be even more powerful. 65%. Now you need to look to me to tell you why, right? So remember, you're trying to control what the audience sees and hears. So be strategic, okay? Part of the strategy that you can employ is looking at the kind of 3 design elements is what they are called, and they have to do with color, layout, and font. So let's look at color first. Colors create emotion. When I said less, and I had it in green, green usually means conservation or something light, outdoorsy, right? If I'd have put it in red like I did the 65%, it usually means danger, stress, something bad. Be strategic about your colors. Just don't pick a color because it looks good. Think about where it's going to be shown, how you want it to be lit, what kind of contrast you want to create, okay? Colors have an impact. And how do we use colors really well, or how do we get to the tools? The simplest tool is the color picker. Match the colors of the image you're going to use. Match the colors of your backgrounds so they're always the same. But that little guy will allow you to pick any number of colors. So we could look at it this way. Throw that image in there. Looks okay, not too bad. We're going to talk about fonts in a minute, but it sure looks better there. Now the slide is here. I've saved myself some space to put a few words if I wanted to, okay? But it looks like I did this intentionally. I was strategic, okay? Same exact color in the background. So let's talk about fonts. Fonts, there's all kinds of fonts. There's literally thousands of fonts out there. But you are presenting to a crowd of people, a crowd of international people, right? So what we want to do is we want to use something very clear, very easy to understand, and again, create time where they look at you and ask you why. So, sans serif, or no little extras on it. This is like Arial, okay? This is like Times New Roman. It's got the little extras on it. Very professional, somewhere in between, okay, but still super readable. Everything else, they're going to associate something with you. A little bit goofy, a little bit childish, maybe not quite professional, and scripts are hard to read. Some languages don't even have a script to theirs, and so this is really actually a foreign thing, which means it takes more time to read. Okay? So we want to be real clear with our fonts. Another cool trick to use, the blank slide. What happens with a blank slide? You see it, there's nothing there, you look to me. Did you make a mistake? What's going on? But I've got your attention again, okay? A few blanks in your presentation, okay. Too many blanks in your presentation, we're back to lazy again, okay? But a blank can be really powerful. So then the next slides I'm going to show you are really just to kind of generate some ideas, but basically take away that there's a lot out there that can help you. I've yet to see an AI tool that actually generates your slides for you in a reasonable way, so this is all you. This is all you. But there's lots of things that you can do that are super simple, like a colored box. That's all that was. A colored box with a nice transition behind the word. Okay? If you're like me, not terribly creative, get a good template and follow it. Don't tear it apart and make it all crazy. Follow the template. They've got good stuff in there, right? It's organized, good colors, all of it stays the same, really nice. I went and looked up templates for slides, free. This was one of them. This is an easy one. You just plug in stuff. Another really good one. Okay? Transitions. Now transitions you have to be careful with. Too many transitions and it looks terrible. Okay? It just gets discombobulated. If you're going to use transitions, you need to be consistent with them. Not like I just did. One transition in a slide deck. No good. No good. Okay? But transitions that you control sometimes can help you. Like, I might be knowing that I'm going to talk about these 4 items. I remember this one, but I don't remember the rest of what I got to talk about. Ah, that helps me. And then maybe I look back here. Okay, now I'm getting it. Now it's back. And I can talk to you again without even looking at it. Okay? So a good diagram like that might help. Excuse me. You can also have it go on its own, right? Like that one did. Brings it up. That way you can talk. You don't have to be focused on your tech. It's happening. Okay? And then you can really go nuts and do something super flash if you're kind of creative and that kind of thing. Okay? So, the idea is be strategic about those elements, those 3 elements of design, right? Okay, last step of being a good speech or TED talker is to make sure you practice, okay? If you get up here and stumble through it, if you get up there and like things don't match what you're saying, you do a lot of ums, all of that, it will be evident that you haven't practiced. Jill Taylor is one of the best ones ever, and she practiced 200 times. You probably don't need to do 200 times, but you definitely need to practice. Okay? Think about your body and your movement. Move around, don't stay stationary, that doesn't look good either. Plan what you're going to do, and you'll be ready when you practice. Okay? So, if we circle back to the beginning of this talk, I started with the 4 things that will help you deliver this thing. Okay? Deliver this TED Talk the best. Tell the story, provide evidence, right? Make sure your media makes sense but doesn't detract. Practice. Hopefully that helps you get this job done. Thank you.